What if I told you that sometimes native English speakers use past tense and present tense, and it doesn't have anything to do with talking about something happening in the past or something happening in the present? What it has to do with is being polite. Would that surprise you? How about something even trickier? If you don't do it, they may think you're demanding or rude. How fair is that? It's not. So let me explain. In order to explain, I will go through some tips for how to make a polite request and how to respond to a request in a polite way. So here are some ways to be polite. How to make a polite request, how to respond to a request. The first way to be polite is to put your request in question form. So when making a request, using a question equals being more polite. That is because asking instead of telling makes a request feel less demanding, and it sort of softens the request. So to make a request, use a question. Can I borrow a piece of paper? Could I come in an hour late tomorrow? Those are examples. So our second way to be polite, choose the right tense. So if you're going to make a request, you want to use past tense. And if you want to respond to a request, use present tense. When making a request, remoteness equals more polite. So what is remoteness? It means far away. In this situation, it means using past tense. Because the distance that past tense creates shows the request may not be met. This makes it feel less demanding, and it softens the request. Use past tense to make a request. So to make a request, use remoteness. Here are a couple examples. I would like your help. Would is past. I could work Saturday instead. Could is past. So let's look at some of these and see which is most appropriate. You want to use the most polite forms with those who are in authority over you. So we'll talk about that some. So let's say it's just two students, you're in class together, and you realize, oh shoot, I forgot my pen. So you just want to borrow one from somebody. So you ask, I can borrow a pen? Now this sounds very demanding, especially if you don't have your voice go up at the end. If you just say, I can borrow a pen, that's kind of demanding. So if we make it into a question, can I borrow a pen? That's fine, it's good. You can use past tense, would be slightly more polite. Honestly, can and could are pretty much the same meaning. Could is slightly more polite. So if you're ever in doubt, just use past tense and it's all good. I could borrow a pen. That's just going to be confusing and maybe demanding. Could I borrow a pen? That's great. We use the question form. Now, someone who's in authority over you, I can take Friday off. They may look at you strangely, and it won't be good. You should put it in a question form. Can I take Friday off? Even better than the present tense can would be could. I could take Friday off. Now we have past tense going for us here, but we do not have the question. Much better to have past and to have question together. Could I take Friday off? That's your best way to ask your boss with past and a question form. Which of these is most appropriate? So you're going to make a request of someone who's equal to you, a fellow student, fellow employee. You will open the door for me. This would be very demanding. This is basically a command. So in the next one, we use present, but we use the question form. Will you open the door for me? This is fine. Would you open the door for me? Slightly more polite, and this is also fine. So using the question form is a big deal. So let's say we make a request of our boss. It is okay for me to leave early. This would not be good. This sounds like you are assuming that it's fine. We use present and question form in the next one. Will it be okay for me to leave early? This is all right, but even better would be to use past tense and question form. Would it be okay for me to leave early? That's your best choice. Now, if we are responding to our request, someone else makes a request of us, now we want to use present tense. Use present tense to respond to a request. Let's say another student asks you if they can borrow your pen. So the request is, can I borrow a pen? You could respond with, sure, no problem. Or, yes, you can. Then the boss, the request is, would it be okay to take Friday off? I could work Saturday instead. And then the response to the request, yes, if you work Saturday, that is fine. So we're using present tense to respond. So let's say you work at a restaurant and your boss asks you to start clearing the tables. So you want to say yes to your boss politely. Should you use remoteness? Should you use past tense? It's a response. You mean now, and you are certain. So use no remoteness. Use present tense. Yes, I will. So here's one more opportunity to practice this. How can we make this email more polite? Dear Mr. Jones, I have a doctor's appointment on October 9. I can be out of the office that day. Let me know if this is a problem. Juan Rodriguez. So basically, you're making a request about being out of the office. How do we do that? Now we notice the second sentence. I can be out of the office that day. What two things do we need to do to make this polite? It's now in present, and it's just a statement. So yes, make it past tense and make it a question. Could I be out of the office that day? Now it's good. Now it's polite. Hopefully, this helped you. This is an area that English speakers are probably not aware that they are doing. And I would love for you to be able to feel comfortable with this so that you can be polite. So remember, there's two things. First, if you make a request, put it in question form and then choose the right tense. If you're making a request, that's past tense. But if you are responding to a request, someone else is asking you, then respond with present tense.